Just want to let you know this podcast is sponsored in part by Functional Sports Performance. FSPIrvine.com. Get in the best shape of your life.
All right, so we are back, and you are with Stephen Basita. This is Get It, and today we're going to be talking about how to be a better coach, a program changer, a culture changer. And so for today, really what we're looking at is, as a coach, how do you go about this whole thing? Where do you start? What are you going to do? Look, this is for anybody. This is for coaches who've been coaching for a long time and things have fallen off. This is for a coach going into a new job at a new school or a new program, not a really great school or program, tuning up, getting better, re-educating yourself. This is for all of that. So let's just start with step one. Just brand new. It's a brand new season. You're walking in, maybe you know your players, maybe you don't know the school, maybe it's your first day, maybe it's your 15th year, and again, your program's been dying. How do you go about restructuring? Doesn't matter what your situation is, you need to restructure it. You got to start off with having what I always tell my players and how I go about this is a standard. And as coaches, we have to have standards. We have to be the ones that tell the kids, the parents, everybody, look, this is what our standard is. Okay? What's your standard? I highly recommend you don't make it about just, well, the standards, we only win and we don't lose. How do you get there? Right? And again, winning isn't everything and you're not always going to win. And this is coming from someone who wins a lot. I hate losing. I actually hate losing more than I enjoy winning. I'll explain that later. There is a difference. But going back to how do you move into the space of where do you set your standard? And I talk to a lot of coaches about this stuff. A lot of coaches don't even have a standard. Now, when I talk to them about having a standard or standards, it's just right over their head. They don't even know where to start. So the first thing I tell coaches is this. You've got to have a vision. What's your vision? What do you want to do? Right? You want to go undefeated? That's great. But if you're coming into a program that isn't used to winning, what's your standard? What are you doing to create a culture of winning? It can't just be, well, we're going to win. You have to create that. So let me give you an example. So I was the head JV coach this past season at one of the Calvary chapels, and I'll just not name which one it is for the reason of not trying to throw a program under the bus. Regardless, I came in, I took the JV job. I didn't know anything about the JV job, and that's a separate story, but I came in, I took it. I had no idea who was going to be on my team. I didn't get to pick my team. I had no idea about the history of the school and their basketball program in particular. So we came in, 6 guys, 5 freshmen, for a JV team, 6 players. This is for a basketball team. Typically, basketball teams sit between 12 to 16, maybe 18 guys, which is a little much, but 12 to 14 is a good number. I had 6, 5 freshmen and a sophomore, no club players. Got a junior a little bit later, and then I got 2 more sophomores as the season progressed. I had most of the season, 6 players though, due to injuries and health issues. We had 9 guys for 3 games. So I did do a little research because I did have people come up to me and talk to me and say, hey man, you took a huge undertaking, you know what you signed up for, you know, all these different things. Now I am a coach. I coach a lot of different teams. I'm also a strength coach and I have my own club. So anyways, I came in and I told the kids, look, we're going to be a culture changing program. That's what we're going to be. So it doesn't matter about the wins and losses. It's not about being undefeated. It's about being a culture changing team. We're going to be the team that does that. What does that mean? So I have standards. We start here. Everybody shows up 5 minutes early. That's when practice starts. So if practice starts at 5 o'clock, everybody's there at 4:55. Your shoes are tied. Your water bottles are out. Your stuff is on the sidelines. And you're ready to go the second my whistle blows. Number 1. Number 2, we don't have excuses. We accept responsibility for our actions. If you make a bad pass, you accept responsibility for it. If you missed a good pass, you accept responsibility for it. If you let a guy blow by you and score a bucket, you accept responsibility for that. We do not blame anybody, including the refs. Refs are people. They're not perfect. They make mistakes. I don't care. 99% of my games that I coach, I don't even talk to the refs outside of introducing myself in the beginning, wishing them a good game, and then thanking them for reffing at the end of the game. It's rare I talk to refs. Refs are not perfect people. They're not going to see everything we do. Now, there are times I talk to refs, but I don't use refs as my scapegoat for losses. Have refs cost teams games, teams I've coached? Probably. I'm sure I could think of a couple. But at the end of the day, a game isn't made up of one play. It's made up of 4 quarters or 2 halves or whatever sport you're in of time. There's no game that's over in 30 seconds. All games last a while. So you have an entire length of a game. And for basketball, we have 4 8-minute quarters to be successful. Okay, so I don't blame refs. I think that that's a cop-out. Not necessary. So getting into the next side of this. Okay, so we got our standard, right? Which our standard is we're going to be culture changer, which means we're going to be on time to all of our practices and workouts, which is 5 minutes early. We're not going to talk to the refs. We're not going to talk back to the coaches. We're going to listen. We're going to do all these different things, right? And so for me, my big 3 things for basketball is discipline, details, and then defense. We are a disciplined team. We are a detail-oriented team, and we work harder on defense, and because of our defense, we move the ball on offense and do well. So to give you what I walked into a team, 6 kids, 5 freshmen, 1 sophomore. The year before, they had 0 wins out of 24 games, I believe. Might have been 25. The year before that, they had 1 win and 24 losses. The year before that, they had no win. So they had 1 win and like 70-something losses. It's not good. All of the teams were the same way. Now, I was involved with the varsity team, not the fresh sophomore team. I did help with the girls' varsity team, which made it to state. The men's varsity team also made it to CIF. They lost in the second round. And then my team, we took second place, but it's JV. We don't go to CIF. So we had a winning record. League, we were 6-4. We really should have been 9-1 objectively, but we, again, young team, no club players, a lot of inexperience. We were ahead every game that we lost. But as a season, we had a great season, and we were culture changers. Now, again, we did not have, I think we went 12-13. We played in 2 very, very challenging tournaments where we lost pretty much every game. And seeing what the competition was that was involved makes perfect sense. No excuses. We lost, but we competed. We played hard. We got waxed some of those games, but those kids never gave up. Again, we set a standard, right? We don't give up. We don't make excuses. We show up on time. We're prepared. We're organized. We're detail-oriented. There's certain times you're just going to lose games. There's nothing you can do about it. All right? And I knew we were going to lose some games. We were playing against big powerhouse schools, and I'm the smallest division there is. I'm playing against 2A schools, and we're 5 AA. We're literally the smallest division you can be in the lowest division. So Again, I did some of those games with 6 kids, mostly freshmen, playing against juniors, sometimes seniors, heavy on the junior side, some sophomores, but kids, teams that were big, had to cut. We couldn't cut. That's another thing. I took 6 kids. I had 6 kids. We didn't cut anybody at all. I got a few more kids, but we started off 2-0 in our season, in our preseason. We won the first 2 games, and then we progressed from there. Now, going back to it, our standards, what are we looking for here? So my standards being preparation, be on time, which is 5 minutes early, give 100%, details, discipline, defense, all these things. And I am very detail oriented, which really is important to understand, because if you're not detail oriented, how can you expect your players to be? You're their coach. They're learning from you. Remember, as coaches, we're the adults. We're the ones that have the experience. They're players. They're just learning. So you need to teach them. And if you as a coach don't feel comfortable that you know a lot, then learn. That's what this is for, though. I want to help you guys out. So, but please, there's a million YouTube videos of Coach K and Coach McKnight and all these amazing coaches over the years, Papadopoulos and Phil Jackson, and listen to some of their YouTube videos. Watch some of their stuff. You can always look for drills. You can always learn, grow, and develop. It doesn't have to be well, I don't really know. I just kind of took this job to help. I'm not going to really, we'll just play ball. No, teach the kids something. So go learn the basics yourself. Talk to other coaches. But make sure you're going and learning too, because if you're not, and you're not doing those things to evolve as a coach, you're just going to hurt your players. You're going to hurt the team, right? And you're not going to set out to be a big culture changer. Now, conditioning is huge for me. I firmly believe in conditioning, and I do a lot of it. So in the beginning of my season, with my only 6 kids, we did a lot of conditioning, a lot of suicides. Everything has a standard, though, right? So when we do suicides, which are full court suicides, we do it in 30 seconds or 32 seconds. It just kind of depends. But if it's 32.01, we do it again. If it's 30.01, we do it again. Everything I do has a time stamp for the most part. And again, has a standard. What are we trying to get better at? And I communicate that to the kids. Communication is also key, guys. You've got to explain stuff. This isn't the old school days where you just throw a ball in the air, yell at the kids real quick to do something, and then you don't explain anything. Like, if you really want to get the best out of your kids and best out of your team, you need to explain stuff. And even in the preseason, before we even started, I had a team discussion with my players and parents. I said, look, it's my way or the highway. You don't have to play for me. This is a choice you're making. Parents are not allowed to talk to me about playing time. If a player has an issue with playing time, they can come talk to me. And this is something I held through the whole season. And guess what? No parents ever talked to me about playing time. A couple players did. And it was great because they had to come to me. We had to sit down and talk about how can you increase your playing time. Now, for me, I didn't have a big team, so everybody played. There are some games other guys played more than others because there's certain games that some players were just doing well. I mean, I'm going to give you an example. One of my guys that was when there were 6 guys, he was the 6th man. When there were 7 guys, he was the 7th man. When there were 8, 9, he was always the last kid off the bench. He led my team in scoring in one of the biggest games we had, and we swept the team, beat him twice. He put up 18 points. He hit 8 for 9 shots, 5 or 3s. Kid went off. So, again, actually, I think he made more than 18. But he led my team in scoring. Bench player, kid coming off the bench. And he never had another game like that. But he had a game like that, which was amazing. And the really cool thing is, because of how we did things and how I structured it, I had 6 of my 9 kids led the team in scoring one game. 6. That's hard to do. And most of them were my freshmen, which is even crazier. Again, no club players, 0 club experience. I had no recruiting anybody. You're just kids that came in. You know what I'm saying? With limited experience. So going through the process here. So we have a standard, right? We have our standard of what are our, this is what we're doing, this is what we're not doing, making sure communicating to that level kids, and then growing from there, right? And again, it is a growing thing. It's going to take time, but you have to be disciplined as a coach. You have to discipline your kids. If they're not listening, they're not doing what they're supposed to do, okay, then it's discipline time. Discipline could mean anything. It means suicides, push-ups. We did a hell night one night, which was brutal on the guys. And I'm actually surprised they were able to walk off the field. It was a 2.5-hour conditioning practice in the football field at night with 45-pound plates. Just your imagination can wander. It was brutal. Those guys barely made it off the field because we have standards, and then we have to be held accountable for our standards as players and coaches. And I always hold myself accountable. If I make a mistake, I'll do push-ups. I'll do suicides. I'm not above my players in that sense. And if I play 5-on-5 with them, when I had those few chances and we were doing stuff for suicides and push-ups, if my team lost, I did them. I don't care. I'm the coach. I should be able to do that stuff. Guys, if you're coaching, unless you have some sort of medical condition or a crazy injury, you should be in good enough shape to run with your guys. Believe me, the respect aspect goes up exponentially. Me as a former player, the coach I respected the most was the coach that I knew could murder me in anything we did. Anything. He was my college coach. There was no question. All right, nobody challenged. He openly would tell every single one of me and my teammates to challenge him anytime we felt like it. We're not that dumb, dude. We didn't challenge him. He would have ruined us, and we knew it because we saw what he would do, right? So be engaged with your players. Let them know, like, dude, my kids know. They challenge me, they get smacked. And they know listen, everybody knows they're going to get smacked. They may try and pretend to be cocky and all that, but it doesn't go well for them. Because I refuse to be a coach that's accepting of mediocrity, including in my own life. I work out 3-4 times a week. I run. I have 2 dogs, take them for runs. I have a little kid. I run her around. I don't have excuses. I make sure I'm in shape too. I'm not in the best shape of my life right now, but I tell you what, I'm in better shape than most of those kids, and I'm going to run with them. I'm not going to be making excuses down the road. I'm going to be accountable, right? So even as coaches, we have to be accountable, guys. So look, have your standards, right? Communicate. Hold yourself to a standard too. And then focus on where's your team at and what do you need to do to be a program. If winning's your thing, then winning. For us, going back to it, mine was being a culture changer. Now, when I did start my job, I was told by 2 separate people at our first game, which was a week and a half after our first practice, and they said, "Hey, man, nobody comes and watches the basketball games. Get used to it. We're not a school that really generates much excitement. We get smashed pretty good." And I said, "Yeah, I saw the record. I definitely looked, and don't worry, that's going to change this year." And it did. Our first game, there were people. There wasn't a lot of people, right? I'm not going to say the stands were packed. They were not, but there were people. There were people because they saw a new set of coaches come in. I had generated some buzz from probably my parent-player meeting, being on campus a little bit, engaging with people, and really just, pushing these young men. And word spread pretty quick throughout the school. We start off 2-0. This is a school that in a team that doesn't win, 1 win in 3 years, and most of those losses they took were manglings. They got slaughtered, 40, 50, 60, 80-point losses. It wasn't close. I'm not about that. Now, could it happen? Sure. But if you believe in what you do and you are structured correctly, again, having a standard, having a system, having accountability, communication, all those things, it pays off. All right, so went in, by the end of the season, stands packed. This is for JV basketball, mind you. Packed. Absolutely packed. Varsity was insane. And again, all these positive things had happened, and I was involved with these other teams too. That's being a program and a culture changer. I changed the culture at the school. All those kids want to play their sports, and I trained some of the teams. I'm a strength conditioning coach as well. And all these other teams at the school right now, they're having the best years they've had in years. I'm talking to the coaches. I'm helping grow some of the coaches and invest in them as well. And like, hey, this is what I did to be successful. Because they'd ask, say, this is what I did. This is what you can do. And they're doing it, and they were winning. Now that we've got the coronavirus, all the sports are canceled now for the rest of the year, which really sucks because all these teams were doing phenomenal across the board. They have 19 teams at the school, and 19 teams were making noise. So let's just break it down for a second here. You're a coach. You want to have a team, and let's just say you just want to have your team win, right? And start to compete and do well, right? Not win everything, but just be on that path. Have a standard, okay? You got to have a standard. You have to have a standard. What's your standard? Discipline, all right? You got to be disciplinary. You got to have a standard, and you got to hold everybody to it. There's got to be a measure of discipline for yourself too. Communication. You've got to be able to communicate. You've got to be able to be a good communicator with the parents and players. People need to buy into what you're doing, and you need to be able to communicate what you're doing. And at practice, why are you doing certain things? I always tell my kids why we're doing stuff. Drills, whatever it is. If they're getting punished, I tell them why they're getting punished too. But communication is key, man. You got to get everybody to buy into it. And that is coming from a standard, discipline, communication. You will get people to buy in. You will get it to happen. Okay? But you have to be good at those three things. If you can do those three things, you can be a program changer, a team changer. You can be a culture changer. But again, you've got to have those three things down, okay? If you don't, it's going to be a long road. It's going to be a hard road, and you're going to be just looking forward to the end of the season, which is most coaches. It just is. There's so many programs out there that are not good and teams that are not good. It stems from the coach, okay? I've been around a lot of teams. I've been around a lot of programs, a lot of bad ones, and I've helped change them. I'm not that special. I come in with a process that works because I have standards, discipline, communication. I promise you, I can't harp on those three things enough. If you can do those three things, you can have a fantastic, fantastic, fantastic coaching career. It's fun. I love going to every practice. Even when I was, not feeling good or sick, I loved it, man. I enjoyed it. I love being around my team. I love being, even when we took some losses. Look, I don't like to lose. I told you early on, I hate losing. I hate losing more than I enjoy winning. And, the difference is this. I said I was going to explain it. I'm going to explain it, and then we'll kind of wrap up here. But people that love to win, and they're just obsessed with winning, they will lose sight a lot of times of what it takes to get there. They'll lose sight of the humility factor. They'll lose sight of they'll lose sight of a lot of things, and they're just playing to win. And that's the mindset of, I'm just playing to win. So when they get in these spots of like being down, they're losing, they don't cope well with it. They don't. They start yelling at their players, and there's this mindset of panic. When you hate losing, again, I hate losing. I don't even like winning that much. I just hate losing. There's two options. You win or you lose. I just hate losing. I hate losing more than I enjoy winning. The difference is, because I hate losing so much, I'm so much more focused on building my team to be winners, right? We're going to go through this challenge. We're going to take L's. We took L's, but we grew each time. We developed. We took lessons from those losses. And again, we prepared to win. Like I said, there were some games we were going to lose no matter what. I'm not making any excuses. There were games this last year we were going to lose. There was no way around it. Period. Okay? And I'm okay with that. My kids played like champions, though. That's the lesson. And because they played like champions every game, they became champions. When we got in the league, we beat the only undefeated team in our league 2 games before the season ended. They had 1 loss. And that was to my team at their house. So again, preparation. Got to prepare your team. Where are they at? What are your weaknesses? What are your strengths? What's your understanding of the game? Whatever team it's, whatever sport, what's your understanding? Build the understanding if you don't have a great understanding. But again, It's a process, man. You've got to be invested in that. It's going to take time, energy, effort. I dedicated a lot of time. My guys had 2-a-days, 3 days a week. Gym workouts, field workouts, basketball practices. If the gym was closed, I took them somewhere else. Like, we got our work in. And practice was very structured. We always focused on 2 or 3 things for the day, and just those 2 or 3 things until they were perfect. I had a standard, I held everybody to it. Perfection. What's perfection? It's not scoring every shot you make. It's not possible. It's giving 100% of your effort on the court. It's setting a perfect screen. You can control that. It's taking the screen perfectly. You can control that. It's giving 100% on defense, playing with your hands up, talking, knowing where you are, who you're guarding. You can control that. Making good passes. You can control that. Your pivots, your pump fakes, your pass fakes. You can control all that. Those are all controllable things. You can't control if your shot's always going to go in. You can't control that. And you can't control if other people's shots are always going to go in. Can't control that either. Sometimes people shoot shots, it goes in, and it's lucky. Okay. Get the ball to the hoop, go back on offense. Get to your spots. Let's do our thing. Hey guys, this is Get It with Steven Basita. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is SSB for Brian E, SE, D for David A. Again, it's SSBESEDA. Follow me on Instagram if you want to. I always post stuff about basketball and my gym business, some other things I do on there. It's been great hanging out with you guys. I'm looking forward to our next podcast and live video, or I guess recorded video. But hey guys, this is great. I'm excited to hopefully help you guys. If you do have any questions, please hit me up on Instagram. That's the easiest way to get in contact with me. I promise I do respond to every message. There's no messages I don't respond to. One day when I have millions of messages, if that ever happens, maybe that'll be different. But I respond to everything. I'm more than happy to help. I'm here for that purpose. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I hope that this is beneficial to you. And again, if you need to reach out to me, Instagram, SSBESEDA. Guys, take care, and I'll see you soon.
You said I'll probably send you some pics, and I'm like, hell no.
Just wanted to let you know this podcast is sponsored in part by Functional Sports Performance. FSPIrvine.com. Get in the best shape of your life.